Let's start with the obvious question. What kind of person looks at a raging volcano, spewing lava and choking ash, and says, "Yeah, that looks like the perfect place to wait out the zombie apocalypse"? Well, maybe someone who has seen too many disaster movies and decided that if the lava doesn't kill you, the undead surely won't either. But surprisingly, if you push past the immediate image of fiery doom, surviving on a volcano might not be the worst idea in the world. It's just that it's also possibly one of the most insane. The line between genius and madness is thin, and it's glowing red with magma in this scenario. The first thing you need to understand about volcano survival is that it depends entirely on which volcano we're talking about living on Kilauea in Hawaii. Maybe you've got a shot. Living on Mount Etna. Possibly if you like your morning coffee with a side of volcanic tremors. Trying to camp out near Vesuvius. Congratulations, you've turned your survival story into a short film titled Ashes to Ashes. The real danger isn't just the lava. It sets the entire unstable ecosystem around a volcano. Sulfur dioxide, unpredictable eruptions, landslides, boiling mud. And oh yes, zombies who may or may not be flame resistant. Because let's be honest, nobody really knows how zombies react to lava. There's no peer-reviewed study for that. Let's imagine, for the sake of argument, that you standing on the slopes of a dormant volcano, the type that hasn't erupted in centuries, but still smells faintly of brimstone and danger. The zombies are down in the valleys, shuffling around in what used to be civilization, feasting on the unlucky. Up here, you have the high ground, literally. The steep terrain makes it hard for zombies to climb, especially if they're the slow, shambly kind. That's an immediate advantage. Gravity is your friend, and for once, it's not trying to kill you. If one of those corpses tries to climb up, it'll probably trip on loose rocks and tumble back down, maybe taking a few of its friends with it. Zombie bowling, volcanic edition. Then there's the heat. Zombies, at least in most fictional models, aren't exactly fans of extreme conditions. Their decaying flesh can't handle the sun for too long, so the relentless volcanic heat might actually work in your favor. You could be sitting there in your makeshift hut thinking, finally, all those years of global warming have prepared me for this. The volcanic gases, too, could help. While they're poisonous to humans, they might be catastrophic to zombies, especially if their lungs are already rotting. Imagine an invisible toxic moat of sulfur and ash surrounding your hideout, doing half the defending for you. But before you start designing your volcano fortress of the apocalypse, let's remember that volcanoes are not kind roommates. The air is thin, the ground is unstable, and the nearest grocery store is about 40 kilometers away, downhill through zombie-infested territory. You'll have to deal with ash clogging your lungs, your water filters, and your sanity. Food is another issue, unless you're an expert in volcanic soil agriculture, and who isn't, right? You'll be hard-pressed to grow anything edible on those slopes. Volcanic soil is famously fertile, but that's after the lava cools and the ecosystem recovers. In other words, great for your descendants, terrible for you. Then there's the temperature problem. Volcanoes are hot, yes, but not evenly. The nights can get freezing cold once you're away from the lava fields. And there's the ever-present risk of toxic rain, the charming result of volcanic gases mixing with water vapor. Imagine spending your evening boiling rainwater, hoping the acid doesn't eat through your metal pot. Now add in the gentle background music of distant eruptions. Romantic if you're a masochist. However, one cannot deny the tactical advantage. Think of it strategically. Volcanoes are naturally defensible positions. Narrow paths, steep slopes, limited access routes. It's a survivalist's dream. You could set traps, block paths with rocks, and use the terrain to your advantage. And if things really get out of hand, well, there's always the possibility of using the volcano itself as a weapon. Zombies swarm your position. Lure them into a fissure, or better yet, an old lava tube filled with heat and gas. One spark, and it's barbecue night. It's risky, but desperate times call for creative combustion. The isolation also means you're far from infected zones. Cities and towns are zombie buffets. Remote volcanic regions are usually empty. You'll have to worry more about starvation and your own loneliness than about being eaten alive. Unless, of course, some other lunatic survivalist also thought Volcano Base was a good idea, and now you've got competition. Imagine meeting another survivor up there. The conversation would probably go like this. You live here too. Yeah, you brought marshmallows. But the social aspect aside, being isolated also makes communication and rescue nearly impossible. You can't exactly pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I'm stuck on a volcano. Can you come get me?" The reception would be as dead as the world below. Even drones wouldn't make it far through the thick ash clouds. Your only company would be your own thoughts, and maybe the occasional vulture, wondering when you'll finally keel over. Then there's the moral question. What happens if the volcano wakes up? It could be months into your survival plan, doing surprisingly well, fishing in hot springs, growing moss salads, collecting rainwater in carved lava bowls, when suddenly the ground starts shaking. You hear the unmistakable rumble of nature reminding you that it doesn't take sides. Zombies or not, lava doesn't care. You're toast either way. The irony of surviving a global undead apocalypse only to die in a molten river would be poetic, if not completely ridiculous. Still, let's not dismiss the ingenuity here. The volcano offers renewable energy, geothermal heat. With a bit of scavenged technology, say, a broken-down geothermal plant or some pipes from a nearby research station, you could theoretically power small devices, cook food, or distill water using natural heat. Imagine telling future generations that you survived the apocalypse using literal hellfire. It's an origin story worthy of a post-apocalyptic myth. And then there's the psychological benefit. In a world overrun by decay and death, standing above it all, quite literally, above gives you a sense of control. You look down and see chaos consuming the world, but up here, it's quiet, almost sacred. The volcano becomes a symbol of endurance, a reminder that the earth itself has survived far worse than zombies. It's like living inside the heart of a god who is asleep, but dangerous, comforting, in a twisted way. But let us be brutally honest. Most people wouldn't make it more than a week. Between dehydration, hunger, burns, and toxic exposure, the volcano would kill you before the zombies even had the chance. You'd probably die dramatically, though, which is worth something. He went out fighting zombies with lava. That's not a bad epitaph. The practical difficulties, supplies, health are monumental. Even the best survivalist would struggle to find consistent food sources. Wildlife is scarce, vegetation minimal, and water risky to drink without proper treatment. You'd spend half your day trying to stay alive, and the other half convincing yourself you made the right choice. And yet, the idea remains strangely compelling. There's a certain primal logic to it. Fire beats rot. Lava beats flesh. Heat sterilizes decay. If humanity ever writes a handbook titled Zombie Survival Strategies that shouldn't work but somehow might, the volcano chapter would be the most highlighted one. Because while it's absurd, it's not entirely hopeless. The human species has survived ice ages, plagues, and politicians. Maybe a volcano isn't that far-fetched. If you were to commit fully to this lifestyle, you'd need to treat the volcano not as a threat, but as a partner. Set up a base near a geothermal vent, but far enough from active flows. Study its rhythms, find safe zones. Learn to read the tremors like heartbeats. Turn the ash into insulation, and the rock into shelter. Use the terrain to collect rainwater and the heat to cook. You'd become part of the mountain, half human, half legend, the one who lives in fire while the dead roam below. And when the world eventually calms, when the zombies rot away and the survivors crawl back to rebuild, you'll descend from your volcanic throne, sunburned, wild-eyed, carrying a stick that smells faintly of sulfur. People will ask where you've been, and you'll simply point upward and say, home. So, surviving on a volcano in a zombie apocalypse, good or bad? The answer like lava, flows both ways. It's good if you're resourceful, lucky, and slightly unhinged. It's bad if you like breathing clean air, eating regularly, or living without constant fear of spontaneous immolation. It's survival at the edge of reason, where every advantage comes with a fiery price tag. But if the world has already gone to hell, why not live on its doorstep? At least up there, the only thing trying to eat you is the planet itself.